it blows my mind now. But getting from the point of me just making my own tunes in my room to like actual them getting supported and played by Radio 1, it's like full circle. It's mad.
That's amazing.
Still, honestly, I completely love it. It's like the best feeling.
Thanks for tuning in to the Apter Party podcast. On today's episode, I've got DJ, producer and podcaster Van Dam on as my guest. If you do enjoy listening to today's episode, then please give us a like and subscribe. And please also feel free to give the episode a share, either on social media or you could share it with your friends, because in this way you'll help us grow our platform. So I hope you enjoy and thanks for listening.
Professional setup.
It's a proper setup, it is.
It's a bit better than our fucking rickety setup. Nah, we've got a not bad one.
To be fair, you're anytime that I've seen any of the podcasts that you guys are doing, I think they look good. Man, I think they
Do you know what, Lewis? That's Lewis to thank for that. It's nothing to do with me. Lewis Holmes.
So Lewis does all the production.
He does all the filming and stuff. Paddy actually on the day does the audio and things. And he's a bit more of the logistics man. He's like, he'll email the guests and stuff. And I just fucking turn up.
You turn up and get the patter on the go.
I just turn up and fucking chat shit. But it's, but yeah, no, that's the easy bit. Do you know what I mean?
So how did the back-to-back podcast come about? We'll talk about this.
Okay,
just now,
okay, yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about this
yeah.
and speak a bit about your involvement and stuff in it. And so how did the back-to-back podcast come about?
Right. So I wasn't one of the founding members.
I didn't think so.
I wasn't. I was picked up along the way. Like, so basically, Check It. So Nick Check It, I was doing it with Paddy. They started doing it. They did a couple. They did Ewan McVicker and they did Craigie Nose. Who you had one of the Craigie Nose boys in here.
That's right.
And who else? They did somebody else as well. So yeah, a thingy from Dixon Avenue Basement Jams as well. So yeah, they were doing it themselves, and then they did a day in the sun, which was like they needed a couple other hosts because there were so many guests and for them to do them all. And at the time, I'd just come off the back of doing my like live streams.
Yeah.
I was doing the live streams and I was just getting on the mic, getting total fucking wrecked, and then and just like grabbing the mic and being like, "What's Abdi saying?"
So this was live streams you were doing
during the lockdown.
During lockdown,
I pretty much lockdown. I fucking bought a green screen the week that we went into lockdown. I don't know what fucking possessed me, but I bought a digital camera, like not a digital camera, but like a webcam, like a wee webcam that goes on top of the computer, like a 4K one, and then I got a green screen. And I fucking was like, right, if I'm going to be, I was at college at the time doing graphic design, and I was like, if we're going to get a couple of weeks off college and that, so I'm like, fuck it. I was like, I'm going to learn how to use green screen. Yeah. So I did it. I was wanting to record sets and stuff in my studio, but I was like, what better time to do it? Yeah. And then after doing that, they were like, Paddy and Nick had approached me and were like, would you be up for doing a podcast with like interviewing people? And I went, yeah. Let's do it.
So with the live streams that you were doing DJ sets, right? When we locked down, you're doing DJ sets with the green screen up. Yeah. You have like wild visuals going on in the background. But because loads of people were doing live streams over lockdown. Yeah. I feel like the first one that I saw was the first ones I saw doing it were Defected. They were on it quick. Yeah. But a lot of people started doing it, and it seemed like for a while, like there was just DJ live streams everywhere. Yeah. But I heard about your ones. I think it was Luke Anderson told me about it, because you were maybe doing them a bit differently, right? You want to tell us a wee bit about that? What were you getting up to while you were doing them?
I was just getting fucking right on it, wasn't I? I was getting mad with it, wasn't I? So my little studio's in my house, right? Yeah. And basically, I mean, for the first few weeks, we were like, guidelines, can't have people over, blah, blah. So I was being pretty strict because I've got like my mum, and I was looking at, like, seeing my mum and that. Yeah. And I like kind of live on my own apart from my son, like was staying with me for the majority of the time. Yeah. So I was kind of like trying to toe the line, be good. And I was like, well, I need to do something. And like Friday night, Ruben would go back to his mum's on a Friday. And I was like, well, I'll just get pissed. I'll just get pissed and I'll put the decks on, and then I could chat to people on Twitch and that. Yeah. So that was kind of it. And I was like, fuck it. Like, and then obviously the visuals, and a lot of people on live streams as well. It wasn't really a live stream as in like USB in, like, you know, DJ, just music. It wasn't that. It was like I was speaking and interacting with people on the chat.
Yeah.
Pardon me, sorry. I just fucking tanked that beer.
That's all right.
Yeah, but and they're well gassier than the normal ones. But yeah, and so yeah, it was just like, that's kind of what set it apart, I think.
Yeah, I think so, because it's a bit more original, right? If everybody's just on DJing and playing music, but you're actually having a bit of like interaction and like patter, as we would say.
I guess it was. And do you know what? At the time as well, because everyone was it was saturated. Well, I think when I did it, I was actually quite good because I did it like straight out the gates. I actually did. There's footage online. I don't know. I might send you. I might not because it's actually. I'm hoping it doesn't get dragged up because there's like loads. Like if this shit does go well with the DJing and that, and people trawl through that, there's fucking mental moments, and I'm like, I'm fucked. But yeah, like just like the first week, it was like I had a webcam in the corner of my room. It was just before they announced the lockdown, so it was the Friday before the Monday they locked everything down. And I had a webcam in the corner of my studio, and then had a webcam on the decks, like in front of the decks, and I had like a gaff. I had like people over. We had High booked, and I think it had hit London first.
Yeah.
So High was booked for the reading rooms. I think it was the rooms, or Dundee or something, and that got pulled on the Wednesday, and we were like, oh shit. And we're kind of like, what the fuck's going on here? And then we were like, and then Scott was like, it's fine, we'll reschedule it. It's fine. 3 weeks. They're saying it's a 3 week thing, right? So I know, and I was like, cool, fuck it. Like, 3 weeks, we'll have 3 weeks fucking feet up, fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Better fucking gaming, better, I don't know, better like just chilling really for a few weeks. And then the Friday, I was like, well, get people over, I'll have a laugh because I'm off just now. And then obviously the week later it was like, yeah, it's COVID's rife. It's serious. And then we're going to be locked down for longer than 3 weeks. It's not a circuit breaker or whatever we're calling it. And I was just like, what? So yeah, it was pretty mental. But yeah, this was kind of after when I did all that, the back-to-back podcast thing kind of came just at the arse end of the lockdown. So it was when things just reopened again, and that day in the sun happened. So that's kind of how I got hooked up with Paddy. I knew Paddy before.
Yeah.
And I knew Checkits before, obviously, as well.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, it just kind of came about then, and then I kind of kept saying to doing the pods.
Yeah. So you hosted one of the episodes, and then they obviously took a bit of shine into you because you're good at it. You're good at it. You bring the energy.
I don't know. I think it's like, I don't know if it's about being good, but just actually not running out of things to say.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think some people kind of, and I think as well, you're quite good at this as well. Like from your pods is you like leave space. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people with podcasts and stuff don't leave the space. I struggled with that at the start because I was just like chatting shit.
Yeah.
But I think it just went well. And I liked working with Paddy and I liked working with Nick. And it was like, there was another one that came up. We did one in Newcastle. And we interviewed, like, I think Nick and Paddy interviewed Ben Hemsley. And that was before he went like stratospheric.
Because he's huge now, right? He's really, really big.
He's big time, man.
Elias and Barrientos were actually talking about him on the episode that we just recorded just now, and just saying how big he is and stuff, but like talking about hanging out with him in Ibiza and saying he's a really nice guy.
Oh, he's sound.
So who are some of the guests that you've interviewed then? You've had some big names on there.
Had really good ones. So you know what I'll do? I'll speak about the ones that we've not brought out yet. Okay. Because there's a couple that we've not brought out yet.
Okay.
And they're good.
Okay.
Right. So we did Fatboy Slim.
Yeah.
In November last year, and that was fucking mental. Like,
it's a big one.
I mean, it's Fatboy Slim. Like, you're kind of ages with me.
Yeah.
So it's Fatboy Slim, mate.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like sitting, and we were in his like room down in Minehead because he does that all back to Minehead Festival. I was like playing at it, and we kind of just managed to wangle the podcast through that.
You travelled down to his place to record.
So he has like an apartment at because it's at Butlins in Minehead. They take over Butlins, and it's like it's absolutely it's a class weekend, by the way. Me and it was Fivey that came down to film it.
Yeah. I know Fivey.
Pardon me, man. Honestly, right. So Fivey and who was it? And Paddy came down.
Yeah.
And so Fivey was filming it and Paddy was doing audio and running about and that. And it was mental. We were in his he's like stays in an apartment that overlooks the Butlins, and it's like nice. And
but he's legendary. He's legendary. I mean, he's you know, he was like the biggest name in dance music at one point.
I think he still is.
Yeah.
Like I would think that like pure like Mount Rushmore of dance music. I would say like electronic music, Mount Rushmore, Fatboy Slim's up there.
Yeah.
Like for sure. Daft Punk, Fatboy Slim, like probably Chemical Brothers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like they're up there.
He's on that level. Yeah. He's on that level.
They set the tone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
remember the footage of him at Brighton Beach.
Yeah.
Right, like the whole beach. That's right, that was Fatboy Slim that took
Brighton Beach to
Brighton
Beach.
However, how many people, like crazy amounts of people.
It was supposed to be like, I think it was supposed to be like 10,000. It ended up being like fucking 100 or something.
Yeah.
It's total mental. The documentary, I actually watched it the night before I interviewed him, because my girlfriend Amy came down with me, and she was like, "You should watch the documentary. Like, it'll probably make you feel a bit better." Fuck it, did it? Fuck. Made me feel proper well more nervous. Yeah, man. I was watching it, and do you know who comes across? Well, you don't really. I met him in real life, but so Gary, his manager, right? They're like, well, from what I've like learned about them, they don't have a contract in place.
Right.
So they're like, they're kind of like, it's like they're doing it together.
Yeah, just like a verbal agreement, gentleman's handshake.
And he's been the guy since the start.
That's
since
cool.
the start. So Gary's been the guy that's like, I've met him a couple of times, and he's like, I mean, you get proper, like you know that he knows the script.
Yeah.
Like he's seen some shit, I think. So
yeah,
but it was cool. It was cool doing that, and I was like,
yeah.
I mean, Fatboy Slim.
It's amazing, man. It's amazing.
And we did Sarah Storied when we were down there.
Yeah.
So she's like Radio 1. That was kind of class as well. She's a total pro.
Yeah.
Like, I was a little bit nervous, but I was like within 5. And it's actually the first time I've ever done a podcast when the room was full. It was almost like, we did it in Sarah Story's, I think it was Sarah Story's room or our room. There was like a little chalet thing. And no joke, there was like 2 sofas of people. And like Absolute was there, and a couple of Sarah Story's mates, and a couple of his mates, and it was a room full of people, and then Paddy and fucking other people. So I was kind of like
pressure's on a bit more, right?
Yeah, I was like kind of like a crowd. So I was like, but it's funny because it's like once you kind of get rolling and you forget and you're just chatting, it was actually not too bad. So
do you get nervous when you're doing it?
Aye.
Yeah, I mean, we guess like that, and if there's people watching and stuff like that, right? It's only natural.
It's a wee bit nervy. I think that my nerves come from like maybe potentially fucking saying the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe saying the wrong thing to them, and then they taking it the wrong way. I've got a fear of that, because I'm like, because it fucking happens. Do you know what I mean?
Happens, man. Happens.
But yeah, that's kind of it. Like, and also like not being prepared. Like, I feel like I prepare now. Like, I have like flashcards and that now. But I used to go in raw dogging it, man. I used to go in and be like, fuck it. I'd go on my phone and go, yeah, cool. Now I'd fucking do it, and it would work.
Just wing it, yeah.
Yeah, man. Because you would just like chat. And I find sometimes like it just depends what guest it is. Like, if you prep, it's like sometimes for a guest it can go right out the window. Like we did Ewan McVicker in December, and I'm not sure if it's going to come out.
Why?
I don't know. It was a bit mental.
Really?
Yeah, it was just, he was like 5 days into his tour. And I mean, I think it had just been a pretty full-on week for him.
Right, okay.
And to be honest as well, and like when I'd had a couple of bevies, and I think we were just like speaking. I honestly would love it to come out, but I don't know if it'll work, but we'll see. Like, hopefully it does.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll get some clips from it or something. But and honestly, Ewan's fucking class. He's a legend too.
Nice guy.
Yeah, man. He fucking pays it back too. He's smashing it. He's totally smashing it, right? It's nice to see, because I can tell. I never met the guy before, but we've got mutual friends and stuff, or like mutual acquaintances, people that Scotland,
know each other. Of course, Scottish club scene. It's obviously
quite that big,
it's small, but I kind of get the impression that he's like super like obsessed with music. Like works really hard. So it's nice to see that actually paying off for somebody.
Yeah, he's about it. Like he's proper. And I think the way that he's navigated this is. I like the way that I would want to do it that way. Like, and the way that he's like, tell me something good was like pure like chart hit.
Yeah.
And
number one, right? Was it number one?
No, I think it peaked at number 7.
Did it? Right.
Yeah,
okay.
I think it was number 7. I might be wrong. I didn't hit number 1, but but LF went to number 1. That was the one that went to number 1. Which is mental. 2 Scottish people hitting it, or 3, because Hannah did it as well.
Aye.
But
did Hannah
got into the charts as well, but I don't know if, I think she just broke top 10.
Right, okay.
Which is, it's fucking mad.
Mad as well.
3 people from like, you know, Scotland doing that. But, 3 acts. But yeah, he has managed to navigate it so well that like he's now, I don't know, like he's managing to like just put out what he wants. Like, so he kind of has a really nice balance that he struck.
Yeah.
Where it's like, there's got commercial stuff, but he also puts out like, did you hear his EP? Like the Roselle EP? It was on Harris.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it sounds like nothing else. So it's really on its own. So yeah, it's pretty good.
I listened to a couple of the shows that he'd done with his Radio 1 residency, and he was doing like little bits of talking and stuff, and he was talking about some of the tracks, and he was like, I first heard this track in Sub Club and stuff, and I really liked, like, I've listened to quite a few of his sets online and stuff, and I like his DJ sets as well. I think he's like proper good DJ.
Yeah.
So I'd like to meet him at some point. Maybe I'll get him on this.
Mate, honestly, fucking hit him up. You'll probably do it.
Yeah.
I'll probably be better than number 1 because there's fucking mate. It was chaos.
Different.
Yeah, it was chaos. We were on his tour bus.
Oh,
we were on his tour bus, and we had mics fucking attached to shit on the roof and that, and we're just sitting there, people banging on the bus, sitting outside Fat Sam's. So it was like people were banging on the bus and everything. So we're like, fuck. Yeah, he may definitely probably do it. Like,
I'd like to hit him up.
Yeah, he's a good lad.
Is there anybody that you would really like to get on? Is there any targets that you're like, I'd love to get them on, or like a dream person that you would buzz to chat to on the Back to Back podcast?
Honestly, do you know what? So we were actually looking at getting Sam Gellatree.
Oh,
were
you playing with him just recently?
No, so he did. He's like a kind of more. I mean, he's doing really good stuff in like on SoundCloud and that, but he's massive. Like he's actually huge. He's like a producer's producer. So I'd like to get I want to pursue that and get him on because he was supposed to happen in December, but he's like he's done stuff with like Pink Panthers and like I don't know. He's kind of working with a lot of American acts, and it's like he's kind of doing the Hudson Mohawk thing, you know, like going in that kind of direction. Right. But he's like way big. I mean, he's done stuff with Skillex and everything, so it's like he's kind of straddling that, almost moving into commercial, like big music. So I kind of wanted to get him on because I actually kind of prepped for it, and I was like, I wanted to speak to him about loads of stuff because that's kind of where I kind of came through when I was younger. I used to like all that kind of music. So
nice.
And then I would like to get Hudson Mohawk on. There's been chat of that as well, but it's like as a guy that's like, I think Joe Coghill, he used to like, I don't know, work with him, or I don't know if he used to manage him or something. I speak to Joe quite a bit, and Joe was like, would you want to get him on? And I was like, fucking right. But I don't know, I think there was chat of him coming home to Scotland at some point, and we were like, let's do it. But
so for anybody listening that doesn't know,
Hudson
Mohawk, he's from Glasgow, right?
From Glasgow.
He's definitely from Scotland, but I think from Glasgow. Producer.
He's definitely from Glasgow.
Yeah. Producer. He's worked with like Kanye West and that, like massive producer, right? He's
done like loads of, like, I mean, he moved to LA. He was living in LA. I think he still lives in LA. I'm not sure, but he made like one of his songs was like on the Apple advert, and he's a huge and a well, like, people are like look up to him. Like he's quite a interesting guy as well, because he's like the genres that he's into and stuff. Yeah, cool.
He'd be a good guest.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But I've never spoke to him before or anything, so that would also be a bit of a, because I kind of try and speak to like all the DJs that we have coming through, like playing with them or whatever. Yeah. I've never spoke to him before. Yeah. So he's a bit like, whoa.
For sure. Yeah. It's a funny one, right? Because when you sit down with someone that you know and then you switch the cameras on, it's like, it's a bit easier. But when you sit down and you're meeting somebody for like the first time, like Mitch from Craig and O's, we hadn't met before we sat down here, and he's such a nice guy, so it just went so smoothly.
Yeah, he's sound, didn't he?
I really, really enjoyed his chat, but that was like the first time. Everybody else that I'd done were like kind of friends and acquaintances and stuff like that. But I mean, I was thinking before I got here, so we've spoke online for years. But I think we've only maybe like briefly met like once or twice.
Yeah.
I think we were chatting at other lands in person, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I can't fucking remember.
And then
I was absolutely fucking away with it. I loved it though. I loved it. It was class.
Yeah.
So
good. Good festival, right?
Yeah, man.
It's good festival. That's not too far away from. You're from Arbroath.
So I'm northeast. So I'm like Perth's like 45 minutes from me.
Right. Okay.
Like 45 minutes, 50 minutes.
So we'll backpedal a wee bit actually, because obviously I want to talk loads about your music and stuff.
Yeah.
But firstly, let's talk a bit about that. You're from Arbroath. Tell us a bit about your background, what it's like there, what it was like for you as a young guy growing up and whatnot.
Yeah, so Arbroath was like, do you know what? Arbroath's a nice place. It's like, it's good. It's not like rough. Pardon me, sorry.
North of Scotland.
I'm going to be doing the whole fucking thing. All the way through, I'll be burping. But yeah,
you're all right.
No, it's mate. You'll have to pure edit it out. But yeah, Arbroath's lovely. I grew up there. I was like, I didn't really get into DJing until I was about like 16, 17, but it was just kind of, none of my mates were really into it. And it was kind of like, yeah, it was a bit of a weird one. It was a bit of a side thing for me to do, because it was like nobody else was really doing it at the time. And because I'm a little bit older, I'm 35 this year. So back then it wasn't really the way it is now. But yeah, it was just, I don't know. Arbroath was like, I mean, I'm happy, like we were speaking about it over the weekend, me and my girlfriend, but Arbroath's quite a nice place to raise a kid. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, there wasn't much like crazy stuff going on, or it wasn't like rough, or there wasn't places you couldn't go or anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of like, it was kind of an easy childhood.
Yeah.
When
did you first start getting into music? Not just dance music, but like music in general. When did you realize that you were really into music?
So actually, like one of the first things that I bought music-wise was a Fatboy Slim track.
Wow.
And it was called Bird of Prey.
Yeah, I know the track.
By Fatboy Slim. And it was a cassette. And it was like, that was like my first, I went to Woolies and I bought this cassette, and I was like, because I wanted the track, and my mum was like, well, there's the money, you can go and buy it yourself, go and do it. So I did that, went and bought that, and then I kind of started like buying cassettes and listening to them on a little Walkman and that, which makes me sound fucking ancient, but it's not. But it's like that was kind of what. That's. I mean, the CDs were shite back then, because they would skip if you had a personal one. So cassette was a bit better. It was before the iPod and that. So but yeah, it was. I used to listen to like Radio 1 and that. I was a big fan of Radio 1, because it was like kind of where I used to soak up all the tunes. I would listen to John Peel and all that sort of stuff, Steve Lamacq. They were like, and then Annie Mac. As I kind of got a little bit older, it was like, I'd listen to Pete Tong and that on a Friday, and then as it was kind of moving at my teens, Annie Mac came on to Radio 1, and then I was like loved all that stuff. So that was kind of my first. I was always really into like kind of electronic music. It was like the Prodigy or Chemical Brothers or Fatboy Slim and that. But as I like got older, I kind of started to hone in on like, you know, that kind of electro house stuff that was popular kind of like, I don't know, 15 years ago. And that was my first real like, you know, I was going to gigs and stuff. Like when I was like 16, 17, I was going to see like DJs in like Edinburgh or whatever, and I was like coming through.
Can you remember some of the DJs that you would?
I went to go and see Annie Mac like when I was like fucking 17 or 18 or something.
Yeah.
I remember going to see Green Velvet at the Reading Rooms.
Oh yeah.
And that was a pure eureka moment. I mean, not just for the reason of me going to see them. It was a multitude of things that happened that night.
Yeah.
But I was like, whoa. I was like, I want to be around this. This is good.
This was a bit of an awakening.
Yeah, and it wasn't really musically like, I mean, at high school, I wasn't allowed to take music at high school because I was disruptive in class and that. So I was a bit of a fucking class clown. So the music department were like having none of me being around there. So after second year, I never got any more music. So yeah, it was a bit funny that I kind of gravitated towards that. But
what was the scene like? Is there any scene in Arbroath? Is that How big is Arbroath?
It's 27,000 people.
Right, so it's not like it's decent sized town.
It's not a village.
Not a village. No,
it's not a village, but it feels like one. It's I think the music scene was all like bands and shit like that.
Right.
So there would always be bands coming through, and I would always go and like Enter Shikari and fucking Flood of Red was a band from Glasgow that I went to go and see loads of times, but I wasn't really majorly into them. I just would go because all my mates went, and it was like we'd all get in this pub and get a bevy because we were all underage. So it was kind of like, that was kind of what I was going to. But yeah, it was like, when I got to kind of go to clubs, it was more like, that was the moment when I was like, holy shit, this is actually, I don't want that. I want to do this stuff.
Yeah.
And that was and then I remember like after seeing, it was Green Velvet in the reading rooms. And then I went to go and see Silicon Soul in the reading rooms. It was not long after that. And I was like, that again, because it's different gravy, like from Green Velvet, but I was like, whoa, this is like, sonically, it was like nothing I'd ever heard before. Loads of different types of music, types of house music. And it was like, just blew my mind. Blew my mind like apart. So after that, I was just pure. And then to try and dig for tunes, it wasn't the same as what it was like is now, where you could just Shazam someone or you record it and then try and find it or whatever. Like back then, I was kicking about a shitty Nokia. Do you know what I mean? So it wasn't like the same. I'd have to write down lyrics in my phone or hum it into my phone to try and like remember how to find the songs. And then YouTube wasn't exactly where it is now as well. So you were kind of looking in the dark a little bit for tracks and stuff. But I was making an effort to try and find them.
What kind of year was this? What kind of year are we talking?
I don't know the year. I know my age. Yeah. Because that's all I remember. But so I'm 35. I'm 35 this year.
So you're a year older than me.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a year older than you. So it was when I was about. I went to the rooms first time when I was like 17.
So it would have been like 2006 kind of time. Yeah,
that's probably spot on.
Yeah.
2005, 2006, and then and then not long after, I was like, I want to DJ. I want to learn how to DJ. And my godfather used to be a DJ back in the day. He used to play like the rumba club parties and stuff.
Yeah.
Shout out to KB. Where's the cat? Shout out to KB.
Shout out.
And KB was like, a really good DJ back in the day. I was pals with my auntie and my mum and that. And so he kind of gave me this book called How to DJ Properly. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah, Bill Brewster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it.
And he was like, read that cover to cover.
Yeah.
And I did. And then I started DJing.
Yeah.
I fucking bought a controller. I was getting shots on a local bar's CDJ 1000s, which were, fucking, for me, that time, that was a peak technology.
Yeah.
Burning CDs off.
Burning CDs.
Writing all the names on them and that, and fucking using them. And then, and then it was just like, and I managed to get a gig at the rooms.
Yeah.
It was through a girl called Hayley Scanlon. She does like fashion stuff.
Yeah.
She's made clothes for Ariel Free and like, I don't know, loads of girl. She's done like girl bands and stuff, clothes. You know what I mean? Like she's proper, like super famous. She worked with Jeremy Scott actually in LA, which was like crazy. But she was doing this kind of like party, like this fash bash type party at the time. It was like new rave type thing, and I was like, I'll fucking do it. I didn't have a fucking clue how to DJ, but I was like, I'll go and do it. And then that was my first like gig.
That was your first gig?
Yeah, the rooms. And that was the start.
Couple of things I wanted to talk about there that you mentioned. The Bill Brewster How to DJ Properly book.
Yeah.
For anybody that's listening that wants to learn how to DJ, that is
the one.
That's the Bible, basically, on like learning how to DJ.
Yeah, man.
That tells you like everything that you need
It's still relevant now as well.
It's so relevant.
Yeah.
So relevant. And I remember for a while, like a few people were kind of speaking to me about it, but you're the first person that I've heard mention that in a long time. He's obviously a really really legendary DJ and stuff himself, isn't he? So great book. The other thing I wanted to bring up was you were mentioning, or you spoke there about like writing down the track lists for CDs.
Yeah.
That used to be the bane of my life.
Oh,
like my
man.
CD folder, and like I've got terrible handwriting.
Yeah.
Trying to like make my handwriting fit on like the little slips that I used to cut out. Everybody that started DJing in the last like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years or whatever, and has only used USBs, you do not know the pain of writing the track lists for every CD that you buy.
It was a weird phase. Like, you having to burn a CD, and then, do you know what? It's mad, right? It was an actual like lucky dip if it was going to work.
Yeah.
Because like, I've honestly, for me, my CD burner wasn't that great. I had a MacBook, but it just, sometimes I'd write them all out, and I'd play it in a CD player, it would work, and then I'd put it in the CD and it wouldn't work.
What did you used to name your CDs? Were you like House 1, like Deep House 1, like that kind of thing, Disco 1? That's how I would organise them like that. Or
I tried to do it. I tried to be as good as possible, but mate, sometimes I'd be in a rush to try and do it. So I'm waiting for the CD to burn, and then I'm pulling it out and I'm writing all the names down and that. And I remember a couple of guys, there was a guy in the rooms, I can't remember who it was, but I remember he had this pristine like sleeve, and it was all like perfect, and he had them numbered and coloured. Yeah. So you'd have like number like CD1, and one would have like, it would be like red, and there'd be a little bit of paper like on the front that would be red and have number 1 on it and that. And I was like, oof, that's fucking
Cody.
That's serious. Like,
wonder if red is like banger.
I know, maybe. Honestly,
yellow's like warm up.
It was totally, he had it fucking locked in, and I was just like fucking pulling CDs out my pocket and I like fucking stuffing them in. But that was kind of like the fucking first, man. Honestly. And you think now as well, see people with USBs now, people that moan about doing that. It's like, I mean, this must be like an old man thing now, but I'm like, don't fucking moan. I was like, it's so pimps to fucking...
totally.
Total pimps now. But yeah.
So you mentioned there your first gig, you said it was kind of like a new rave type party, right? Me and Mitch were talking about that when he was on the podcast. Like that period in time, like 2006, 2007, I look back on that quite fondly for the music that was going around at that time. And it seemed like it was a bit of an interesting period because indie was big. Indie was like the main thing, right? Dance music wasn't like it is now. It wasn't like every young person was into dance. Like I think your average young person then was into like indie music, right? But
the Cooks and
exactly
all that shit,
exactly.
NME and all that,
totally, yeah. But some of the bands were doing like DJ sets and stuff as well, like Friendly Fires and
Klaxons,
Hot Chip and that. And I remember at that time like finding that whole side of the scene like being really exciting. And thinking a lot of the music that was coming out was really exciting. And even some of the stuff that the bands were playing, I felt like you could kind of feel there was a bit of a dancey element in it off the back of that as well.
It was such a funny time because it was like, I remember going to the Arches back then, and it was like, I think it was a Friendly Fires DJ set.
I went to that gig.
Yeah, I honestly, and it was like, was it Death Disco or something? Was it?
Yeah.
Was it maybe?
Oh no, sorry, I went to see them live. at the Arches.
I went to go and see them, or maybe, it was definitely a DJ set from Friendly Fires, and I was like blown away by how good it was.
Yeah.
Like, because it was they were playing proper housey stuff, and you can tell their music's like influenced by that shit. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
But yeah, it was a funny period. And then they would do like, the NME did a club tour, and it was like a majority of it was DJs and stuff.
Really?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Annie Mac was on it. And then remember Sirkin?
No.
Sirkin, or I think it was maybe Sirkin. I can't remember. But there was like a lot of people that were getting plays on Annie Mac's show that were like on that tour. And they played like Dundee and did like Glasgow, Edinburgh and that. And I remember that as well, because it was like NME were kind of pulling into the dance thing a little bit, and it was a bit of a weird move for them because it was always like
rock
bands, you know what I mean, playing guitar and that. Yeah,
totally. No, it was a cool time. So that was when you had your first gig. Do you remember? Were you nervous? For the gig? Were you?
Yeah, and I fucking had no clue what I was fucking doing as well. So I made a burp again.
That's all right.
Yeah, I'm fucking trying to hold them in, but it's not working. But yeah, I was nervous as anything. I had no clue what I was going to do. I did the DJ set. So I had learned to use the CDJs, burned my CDs, right? But I also had like created an Ableton live set. I think it was Ableton 7 or 6 or something at the time. It was like the one of the early Abletons, but somebody had told me to do this, and I'd built a DJ set like almost in it just in case I fucked up on the decks.
Okay.
So it was like I had that plugged into a channel on the DJM 800 and 600.
Yeah.
And and I just used the CDJs or the Pioneer, like the 1000s, and I was like, it was like hard.
Yeah,
it was scary, and I was not mixing anything, and everything was out of time. But no one gave a fuck. No one cared, because it's like, and I find that now as well. When you DJ, you mess up. No one out there cares. It's just the people here.
Totally.
The people that are watching over your shoulder, but the people in the crowd barely ever notice. Do you know what I mean?
I think well, I don't know about you, but for me, like, I'm always my own biggest critic as well. Like, if I'm like mixing a track in and then there's like a beat just like one touch out of place and then I have to bring it back in or whatever, I'm like, oh, did anybody notice that? And then like my missus or whatever will be like, are you fucking mental? Like, nobody noticed. Everybody's out their mind.
I know, everyone's off their chops. They're all like, they don't give a fuck about that one beat. And do you know what's mad as well? It's like, but honestly, I've seen like DJs as well. A couple of my friends are like that, and they're like proper beat themselves up about it, and they'll get off and they'll go, fuck, I told fuck that, and you're like, no, you didn't. Like, everyone's loving it. Calm down.
Yeah, totally.
I think that takes a wee bit of time I think a lot of the younger guys are like that now. And I think as well, it's like everything's filmed now. Everything's filmed. Everything's kind of caught on social media. So I think the fear's there now when like, oh, maybe somebody got it on on video, and you know what I mean? And it's like, it's permanently there. Whereas I think before, I don't really have as much fear now, because I'm like, fuck it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like it's if it's shite, it's shite. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
That's it. And I mean, at the end of the day, like, the track selection is the most important part, right? That's something that's kind of been spoken about on here as well. But yeah, it doesn't need to be like perfect. Like,
it's
seamless.
Sometimes better if it's not perfect.
It's
a bit more real.
Yeah.
Not total shite, but
for sure.
Yeah, it needs to be a little bit rickety. Do you know what I mean? Because then it's like, you know that they're actually doing the thing. Do you know what I mean?
I heard once that Jeff Mills has actually said that sometimes he will purposefully put the track out of time to catch, to like bring everybody back into like, oh, this is like a live gig.
Pull them out of the...
This is a live thing, like, rather than it just being like sounding like it was all done pre-hand enabled and beforehand or whatever. You know? And he's obviously the man.
He's the wizard.
The wizard, exactly.
Yeah, man.
As you said, so.
Yeah, do you know what though? I can fucking see that as well, because he would have to purposely put out, because the guy is
so good.
Locked in.
So
he'd obviously have to go, I'm going to nudge this out a little bit. Just let freak people out a little bit. It's good. It's good. Get like people, keep people on their toes a little bit out there. Yeah, it's good.
I know. So after you've done this gig then for this party, did you know right away? Did you think like, right, I want to do this?
Yeah.
I want to do it. Yeah?
Straight in. No fucking qualms. I was like, I'm going to work harder and learn. I got a set of decks. I acquired a set of decks from my old work, a shop that I worked in through... I didn't steal them, but I fucking like managed to wangle the guy. The guy thought they were worth fuck all. The guy who owned the shop. And I was like, and the guy who worked with me in the shop was like, I'll tell him that they're only worth 300 quid. And like, you give them the 300 quid, we'll get them out the shop. And then, but they're not. It was like set at 12 tens. And I paid the guy 300 quid in the shop. The guy who owned the shop.
Nice.
And fucking, and I managed to get them up the road. And I was like, fucking, that was, and I was like, I mean, I would never be able to get that. You know, get decks like that. Not, I mean, not even back then. They were 300 each. Minimum. I've still got them now. They've been serviced to the hilt. But I just kind of, and I was using like, I was kind of dabbling with like Tractor Scratch and stuff like that as well. So I was using all that back in the day, and then I kind of just kept practicing, and then it took off from there. Like, I was getting gigs. I actually played quite a lot of pretty mental gigs when I was younger. Played like I used to play in Aberdeen quite a bit, and I kind of got lucky meeting a few DJs from up there, and then they had parties, and I was kind of playing their nights. And like Snafu was a pretty famous club in Aberdeen.
I remember Snafu.
Yeah, it was a good club. It was a class club. It was a proper basement vibes. Like, can put your hands on the ceiling. And I got to support loads of good acts. Support like Fake Blood and the Two Bears, one of the guys from Hot Chip. And who else did I support? Fucking FOMO. Do you remember FOMO? Yeah, he's like, I think he's in Gorgon City now. I think it's one of the guys. I don't know. Don't quote me. But I mean, they're massive now. And then so I supported loads of good artists back then. But it was kind of like, I don't know. It was a weird time, because it was like really, really popular and stuff. And then I kind of came back when my son I did that for like 6 years. Just did the circuit, just did all the bits and bobs and playing different nights. Any kind of club night I could support or warm up, I would do that. And then I started my own night in Dundee. That was kind of the next like stage, because I was like finding that like getting bookings was a bit harder and things were getting a bit more saturated, more DJs, more competition.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Is Dundee is that the closest main city then? Yeah.
That's the closest major place to kind of do something.
So it makes sense starting your night there. What was your night called?
So I started the night before and it was called Smash and Grab.
Right.
But I binned that after 2 because it was just like it wasn't working. And
after 2 nights,
I was like, I honestly was like, fuck this, I'm not doing this again.
Yeah.
Just because it was like, it's just a lot of money to put a night on, to book a DJ and do all that sort of stuff. And I kind of didn't do it like the right way. I should have just built it up with like residents and stuff like that. But I didn't do it like that. I was like, I want to book a guest, I want to do this.
Do you have guests on for both the Flash nights?
From pretty much
Who
the
did you
get-go.
have?
Act called B2Q, which were like, they're gone now. Like no one, they're lost in the like history.
Yeah.
But I booked them because they were like flavor of the month.
Yeah.
They're from France, I think. They were good. They were good. They were good lads as well. But yeah. And then I kind of stopped for a little while and I was like trying to think, and then I started All Good with my mate Scott. It was about a year later. My son had been born and I was kind of like, I want to do it. I want to kind of have an excuse that I can get out the house and have like, you know what I mean? have a night away, and then, but also try and like, you know, do something, get some gigs, because I couldn't really be out and about as much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started All Good, and it was with my pal Scott Williams.
Yeah.
He was from Arbroath. He's actually sadly passed away now.
Oh,
he passed away not long after we started it.
God, I'm
died
really
in a car
sorry.
crash. Yeah,
God, I'm really sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, no, he was a good guy, but he was like, me and him kind of cracked heads together and we're like, right, let's make a list of DJs that we want to book. And we ended up kind of, after he passed away, it just so happened that Scott Forrest, who does parties, he works for SWG3 and, well, he books stuff for SWG3 and does parties in Aberdeen. He has Cultivate Festival. He kind of got in touch and was like, look, I'm wanting to do some stuff in Dundee. Do you want to like link up? And I'll get the guests if we can kind of put them in the rooms and kind of do it with your night. And I was like, fucking right. So the first kind of couple of guests were like, we had like Jack Master, like straight off the bat. We had Jack Master, Heidi, Green Velvet.
Wow.
It was like fucking 0 to 100.
Wow.
And we ticked off pretty much like a few of the big guests that we had on that list that me and Scott had made.
How many people were you getting coming to these nights?
400, 500 every single month.
And that's you just from the get-go?
From the get-go.
Yeah,
like
that's really
sold out nights straight away.
Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, it was the glory days.
Yeah.
People were buying tickets, people were coming out.
Yeah.
And we got to a point where we're like booking guests that like necessarily wouldn't, I mean, if you wouldn't take a risk on them nowadays, but back then, because we were like, I think they'll do good. And and the rooms was doing good. Like Reading Rooms in Dundee was like the go-to place for that. It was like Cab Vol in Edinburgh, but even more like lore about it. Do you know what I mean? Like more kind of, people were drawn to that place. And yeah, and we just, honestly, some of the parties were banging. Like some of them were mad, man. Honestly, we had like seriously good guests.
So would you warm up for the guests then?
Yeah.
You would. So you were. So
every
I mean,
time.
That would have been a great experience for you, like getting to play in front of all these people.
It was good. It was it kind of cut my teeth a little bit in Dundee and kind of got my foothold really solidly there. Do you know what I mean? Like Hannah, like I booked Hannah to come warm up for Hannah once. We booked Hannah once. Pardon me. And I booked Hannah before she blew up, and she was like obviously kind of doing her thing now, but back then she was kind of just starting out. Do you know what I mean?
The night's still going now.
We're still doing, we're still doing stuff, just not on that scale. Well, I mean, it is kind of grandiose. We're still doing like, I mean, we did the after party for Big Weekend last year.
Yeah.
And it was the guests were mental. We had like Dennis Silla, LF System, Danny Howard, Ariel Free, all the Radio 1 people, Sarah Story, Jaguar. Who else did we have as well? We had Josh
Oh,
we had Josh. We had it was like a team sheet, a mental team sheet.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah, crazy team. And it was, do you know what? To be fair, it was just a really good push up. Like honestly, it was like the night ended up doing good on the night, but nowadays with ticket sales, honestly, things aren't what they were.
No, I know. This is something that we've kind of spoken about on here a few times about this recently. It's good to talk about it though. It's interesting to hear other people's perspective on it. Elias and Barrientos were kind of saying the same thing as me. I don't think people are going out as much at the moment. I certainly don't think that people, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, like people in their early 20s are going out clubbing as much as I was when I was that age. I don't know what you think.
So I've got a different theory.
Okay.
So I think there is.
Right.
I just don't think that they go, I think they go to a specific thing. And I think that the event, the type of event, I mean like the actual scale of the event isn't club.
I agree.
They'll go to a Terminal V. They'll go to a Fly.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that at all. But I think then in turn, I think like your weekly club nights or your your monthly club nights, like I don't like. I feel like when I was 18, 19, like I was going out like every week, like multiple times a week, and
me too.
And like friends of mine's that were at university in Edinburgh and stuff, like when I was kind of similar age living in Edinburgh, like they were going out like 3-4 times a week.
Me too,
you know?
yeah. It was like that, but I think that the times, I think the way that things are now, like people will save themselves for the large, and you've got to remember, mate, right? So when I looked at it like the past year, there's 12 festivals on in Scotland alone.
Yeah.
And that's too much.
Yeah.
I mean, like, not to put down any of the people running the festivals or doing anything, but 12 festivals in Scotland, something's got to give. Like something. So the club scene is going to fucking suffer because, like, and I know that a lot of these people are doing club stuff too, and that is cool, and that they're trying to keep the roots going. But I tend to find that like it's just not feasible. Like, I mean, look at other lands got pulled last year, right? And that's from Flyer, like one of the biggest kind of promoters like in the game.
Yeah.
And they're putting on these massive scale events, and and they're doing a Friday night every single week.
Yeah.
It's quite a lot. Do you know what I mean?
It's a lot.
Sucks up a lot of the people that like go to things, because people now just I'll go to Fly because they trust Fly.
That's it.
So it's like their brand that they trust and know.
That's it. I know. I mean, they're probably the biggest like house music promoters in Scotland, right?
Yeah.
And they've obviously built up like such a following that they can just do parties, and I'm sure people will just turn up. You're right. I was surprised to see that other lands had been cancelled. And I think it's a shame because the year before I thought it was great, and it's like good location, and I liked
class.
I liked what they'd done with like the branding and stuff and the kind of angle that they'd went. But I think you're right in what you're saying. I think young team or people that are just going out in general are saving themselves for bigger events. I think there's other things involved as well. I kind of think people are more health conscious now.
Yeah.
And maybe are just like connecting in other ways. Like when we were like 18, 19, 16, 17 or whatever, if you wanted to connect with people, like you actually had to go out and meet them.
Yeah.
Whereas now, people are sort of getting a bit of that through their phone.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they're maybe getting like a buzz off like putting something up on TikTok.
Yeah.
Whereas like when you were 16, 17, 18, like when we were that age or whatever, maybe you would have had to get your buzz in other ways.
Yeah,
like
you wouldn't get you get your engagement now from your social engagement from TikTok or Instagram, or put up a photo or whatever. I get it. I totally get it.
Totally.
That you're right. You're actually completely spot on. It is a multitude of things. I think maybe potentially a money thing as well.
Well, that's it. Times are tough at the moment.
Times are tough, and we've kind of come out we're at the arse end of like a fucking really weird shitty time. So,
exactly.
Yeah, it is a multitude of things, but it's a weird time for events. Weird.
It is.
And I wish it was the same as what it was before, but it's not. I don't think it's. I mean, it might go back. It might be a change. I feel like genres are quite a thing now as well. Like the young team are into hard and fast music.
Yeah,
that is what they're into.
Yeah.
And that's not me being like an old geezer, like, being like, oh, they're all in. It's genuinely that is what they're into now.
Yeah,
like the tunes that are 150 BPM.
I know.
I mean, I've been in SWG3 with like another event on, and I went into one of the rooms where like there's a sold out event that they kind of do weekly, and I'm not joking yet, it was rapid. And I was like, I don't know. If I was out my face, I wouldn't be able to handle that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know. Listen, I'm the same, but like, I'm at risk of sounding like an old geezer as well saying it. But yeah, the trend just now with the music being as fast as it is, it's just not my bag. Like I get like different strokes for different folks. I do wonder how long that will last.
It'll burst.
I think it'll maybe burst. And
we've seen it change multiple times.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's certainly a thing just now. Mitch that was on was describing it as TikTok techno.
It is.
But he was like, you know, very like fair play to him. He was saying, I'm not discrediting it or whatever. It's just like, it's just the trend. Just now.
It's not me neither. Like to be quite honest, like I like some of the stuff. I'm like into all sorts of types of electronic music. So I'll take some of it. But it's just I like a variety. I'm a big fan of variety. So even coming through when I was DJing, I've played 140, 145, but I like to go down to 120. Do you know what I mean? I like a night to build up. And I feel like it's 0 to 100 now. Well, 150. Do you know what I mean? It's like faster.
I would agree with that, and that, to be honest, for me, like I find that bit a bit tiring. Like, where does it go? If it, like, I'm the same as you. Like, I like a night to build up from. Like, to be honest, like sometimes I'll start playing like 115 beats per minute, really deep and slow and atmospheric, and try and build it up. And
that's
if I'm
nice.
playing all night anyway, but if it's like that the whole night, for me, I don't think I could handle it. I think it'd be a little bit tiring.
It's not easy.
No,
it's not easy. No. And do you know what? It's mad. Like I've played like back to back with a few people that are like rapid and I'm trying to match the energy. It's fucking hard, mate. It's fucking hard. And you're like, it makes me feel like, oh, I don't know if I can run with this, but it's like, it is what it is. And also like, I mean, I don't hate it at all. I think it's like, if they're into it, they're into it.
That's it. Different strokes for different folks.
Totally, mate.
That's
totally.
For sure. So you actually mentioned there, you were talking about Radio 1's Big Weekend, right? I was going to ask you a little bit about that whilst we're chatting, but we'll come back to that. I want to backpedal a wee bit again, right? So obviously you started DJing. You were putting on nights, your own nights at the reading rooms. When did you start producing? When did that become?
Do you know what? I was always making edits and stuff. I was mucking about with Ableton from get-go. So I was making edits of tracks, shit edits, total shit. But stuff that, like, you know, if I was, if the beat grid didn't feel right on a track or a disco track or something, I would just kind of fix it and I would make it so it was easier to play. I'd add some kick drums at the start, whatever, hats and whatever, right? So I was doing that for a wee while. I was doing that for some tracks. If I would drip something from YouTube, it wasn't good quality, I'd chuck it in Ableton and I would build some drums around it just to kind of, beef it out a bit.
Nice.
So I did that for a wee while. I was doing that with tracks. I was also building DJ sets in Ableton. So like, if I had to do a recorded thing, like a mix or something, I would make a mix in Ableton. Because I was like, sometimes I would record them live. It just depends how I felt. But I was starting to kind of figure out how to use Ableton that way. And then the start of lockdown. Well, actually, prior to that, I was mucking about with Ableton, and I'd actually, Can't Grumble got picked up from Jaguar. I think it was like January 2020. So that got picked up. I'd made Can't Grumble already. That's it. The funny thing about Can't Grumble. So you know the other track that it sounds like?
No.
There's an Enzo
Siragusa.
Yeah.
Enzo Siragusa.
He's got a track. I think it's him anyway.
Yeah.
It's got a track and it's got the same piano lick in it.
Right.
But it's actually from a piano pack. It's from a pack. It's like, so he's just used the same pack as me.
Okay.
But when I dropped a tune, everyone fucking was like, that's that track, you've sampled that track and everything. And I was like, no. So I had to actually put a video up and be like, look, it's actually from a pack and he's used the same pack as me.
Okay.
So I've not written anything. I've not stolen anything either.
Okay. So for people listening that don't know, basically,
it's Yeah. So I was getting like quite better chat online.
Really?
Yeah, man. I got some backlash. And I remember I messaging Jag going, look, I haven't nicked this track. This is what, and then she was like, no, it's fine. Like, I wouldn't care if you did either. But yeah, so that got signed January 2020, and then they were going to do Big Weekend that year in Dundee. It'd already been booked and stuff, and we were going to play. And then obviously COVID happened. So I just was like, well, what better time to try and... So I was just kind of, my time was soaked up trying to learn the green screen and do Ableton, production.
Amazing.
Music production, yeah. So I just kind of used my time like that.
Productive way to spend.
Yeah,
to
man.
Spend it though,
I mean,
right?
I did unproductive stuff too, but, that was the move. I was like, you know, if I fill up my time doing some of this stuff, get some of that done during the week, then I can fuck it up at the weekend.
So those were your first tunes that Jaguar picked up?
First proper track that I'd made, that produced myself, was Can't Grumble.
Right. That's a good start, right?
Mental.
It's a really good start.
Mental. Total throwaway thing that I was just putting in my DJ sets just because I fucking wanted to.
Yeah.
And she was like, give us it.
And at the moment, it seems like you've got tunes out all the time, and all the big guns are playing them. So, like, what came next after that release? Because am I right in thinking you're saying that got picked up in 2020? I feel like, when did that actually come out?
Last year.
It came out last year, right? Did she just put a pause on things because of COVID?
Yeah.
Right.
So I was waiting, sitting like, come on, because I knew that once that came out, the things would kind of start to fall into place. Well, I hoped it would. But it was like, after that, I got approached by Southern Fried pretty much immediately. The couple of days after Can't Grumble came out.
They hit you up?
Yeah, they hit me up. And do you know what was really good? The fact that it was the first single on Jag's label was a pretty big thing. I think it helped propel me forward a little bit and push me in front of people. Yeah. And the support from Radio 1 on that as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's like Pete Tong played it, Say the Story played it, Danny Howard played it. Like that's like... And then, honestly, since then, every single track that I've had released has been played on Radio 1 multiple times. It
certainly seems that way.
It's fuck knows. It's bizarre. It's like, it blows my mind now. But getting from the point of me just making my own tunes in my room to like them getting supported and played by Radio 1, it's like full circle. It's mad.
That's amazing.
Still, honestly, I completely love it. It's like the best feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it really must like raise the hype level around you, right? It must bring a lot of attention to you, to your music and stuff. If those guys are backing you and supporting your, each of your releases, and it certainly, listen, from where I'm sitting, it certainly seems like everything you put out is on Radio 1. Yeah. Those guys are all hammering it, so it's amazing. And like,
and I think that, like, you'll know as well yourself. You're involved in the same sort of stuff. It's not easy to get in front of those people.
No,
it's not easy.
It's not.
And Jag does an amazing thing with her introduction show, and she's like, honestly, I think that what Jaguar does for up and coming artists is incredible. And if you are listening to this podcast or watching it or whatever, and you are making music right now, you need to go on the BBC uploader and you need to upload your music.
Definitely.
You have to do it, because people, I think, don't think that they can do it.
Yeah.
You can just do it. Anybody can do it. Yeah. And she goes through the tracks, and BBC Scotland go through the tracks, and they religiously will check pretty much all the stuff.
Yeah.
And if you're doing a little bit on social media and you're trying to get radio plays, do that, because they will. If it's good, they'll play it.
100%. They just played my track on BBC Introducing Scotland on Friday, and Jaguar played it the week before on her BBC Introducing.
How fucking class is that?
Need to give a shout out to Jaguar and to Phoebe IH.
Phoebe,
Thanks to everybody at BBC Introducing. It's great. It is great because it's. Yeah, it's
a buzz. 10 years ago, would you have thought that would be happening?
Totally. It's a buzz to hear your track live on the radio, and it's a good platform, as you said, for people that are like coming up and getting started. Because I actually think that it's almost easier. There's like an easier pathway there than it is to try and get your tracks in front of some labels these days. You know,
it's a good way to get to that point as well.
Yeah. Definitely. So with you having so many tunes out just now, it feels like you've got tunes out all the time, and people are playing your tunes all the time, or there's loads coming out. What's the secret to the productivity then? Or was this stuff that you were all doing during lockdown? Yeah,
so some of them were, some of them weren't. So what happened was, when I'd obviously kept cooking, right? So I kept cooking between January 2020, when Can't Grumble got picked up, and I just kept, that was what I was doing kind of through lockdown. I was like making tunes, heaps of shite ones, none, like some honestly will never see the light of day. Some stuff got binned, whatever. And as I was going through lockdown, there's one that actually Liam Docs just signed that I actually made, was the second tune I ever made, but I reworked it. It's already had plays on Radio 1, but I'd sent it out. It was kind of a club tool thing. It's a little bit different from what I've kind of made. It's got a bit more like mental sounding. And yeah, so Liam picked it up recently for his label, Liam Docs, Livery Street Social Club label.
That's a cool label, really cool stuff.
Cool. He's doing cool stuff.
Liam Doc's a good guy.
Yeah, I love Liam. And so he picked up one of those tracks, and that was the second track I ever made. So it's not like I'm obviously like kind of still hanging on to some stuff that I've not put out yet. But yeah, We Can came out after Can't Grumble, then No Sleep. And they were both on Southern Fried. Southern Fried came to me straight after Can't Grumble and were like, what have you got? And so I was like, this is what I've got. And they picked them out of the bunch. And then I found the records in my collection of records that I've fucking like got in my room. I go through them sometimes to fucking like try and nick stuff, to try and sample to try and like, you know, inspire me at least. Sometimes even just a kick drum, like if there's a nice kick loop in a track, I'll pull it out and then I'll just like, I'll start with that.
Yeah.
And then end. Sometimes you bin it. Sometimes, you know, just you need something to kind of get the juices flowing. And I found that a cappella for Blame It on the Bass, and I've got the vinyl, and it's like Norman Cook featuring MC Wildski, Blame It on the Bassline, and on the B side was the a cappella. So I ripped a cappella, and then Blame It on the Bassline was made in like June last year, and then Southern Fried was like, well, it makes sense for us to take that because it's Norman Cook. And then I've now got I can't really say. I thought I maybe would be able to say, but I can't say just yet because I've not done the official shit yet.
Go on.
But
yes, you can.
Can you bleep it out? So there's a big label. There's a big, a decent sized label that had a recent kind of hit from like a big act. They're kind of like straddling commercial, but still dance orientated.
Defected?
No, not Defected, but they're big. They're like, for me anyway. I when I got the call, I was like, whoa, holy shit! And they want
Ninja Chin.
No. Okay. I wish, mate, I wish. They wouldn't come with near me with a fucking long pole. But no, I say they approached me and they've taken 3 tracks off me.
Amazing.
3 singles, I think.
Amazing.
So they're going to build a campaign around each one.
Amazing.
And then Southern Fried have taken another 3, I think.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, man. And Pets have got back to me. I think maybe, I can say Pets because I think that's maybe nearly done or it's not happening. Fuck knows. But I don't really care about Pets because they like, that was a last minute one. So I thought that like, like
Pets is Cats and Dogs.
And fucking right, that's a banging label. And they put out banging tunes. But and hopefully they hear this and they go, oh yeah, well we'll get that fucking pen and paper. But they're interested in some tracks.
Amazing. So you are staying really busy by some things.
Yeah, man. Really want to do a release every 6 weeks.
Brilliant.
Till the end of the year.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And Southern Fried is Fatboy Slim's label.
Yeah.
So is that how it came about with you guys doing the podcast together?
Yeah.
Right.
But I got booked for that thing All Back to Minehead.
Right.
And I was DJing at that, and Southern Fried were kind of the same people that run Southern Fried. It's the same group. It's called Anglo Management. So it's the same as Lost Village. Stuff like that. They run loads of events and stuff too. So they kind of, you know what I mean? They'll get you into events if you've got a release on their label and whatnot. It helps. The one hand washes the other type thing. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool how like, and it's also the people at Southern Fried are sick. Like they're really proper in it for the tunes and the lineage of what Southern Fried have put out, because at the time when we were speaking about all that electro house stuff, that's all that stuff. That's all Southern Fried. Crookers. Like Crookers had releases on them too. Bears had releases on Southern Fried. Like loads of those acts that I was into back in the day. So it was kind of cool to put stuff out on their label.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I need to ask, where does the name Van Damme come from?
Fuck. So mate, it's so stupid, right? So I lived in America for a year after high school. Like a year and a half. Yeah, I played basketball.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
I played basketball back in the day when I was like younger.
Right.
And I was like decent enough to go across and play basketball in the States.
What?
Yeah, it was was not bad.
You must have been like really good.
I was decent. I had like I played like under 16 Scotland. Like I did like fucking development squad stuff for Scotland.
Right.
And then I played like North Scotland development squad and all that sort of stuff. Never made the final squad for Scotland, but had trials and did all that shit. And then I played for the Arbroath Musketeers. We used to fucking do pretty good in like National League terms. Like we played against Edinburgh, Glasgow, St Mirren, and we fucking held our own against those teams.
Wow.
So I ended up going to America to play across there, to go to high school for a year.
Yeah.
Play basketball. I went across there.
So where about in America?
I stayed in a place called Madison, Ohio.
Yeah. Ohio, right? And
proper middle America. Well, felt like that.
So you went over you're on your own?
On my Todd.
On your own. And you're
18.
only like, you're 18?
Yeah. And just turned 18.
And was this like to play, did you say it was a scholarship?
It's not. It's like a high school. It's an exchange basically.
Right.
And it's through a company called Flag. I don't know if they're about anymore. Right. But they basically take students across football or basketball or whatever. Okay. And then you get a year in high school to then try and get a scholarship.
I get you.
So you're getting put in front of people to then do it.
Wow.
It was fucking pretty mental.
Where did they put you up and stuff then, obviously?
I stayed with a family.
You stayed with a family?
Yeah,
you
man.
stayed with an American family for a year?
Yeah, man. And they were fucking sound.
Whoa,
really, really sound.
Wow,
they were like, oh my God, I can't remember their second name. Fucking bad. Cut that out. Because they'll fucking hate me for that. But yeah, Clay was the dad. Melissa was the mum. But yeah, they were amazing. They looked after me. And then I like had other friends when I was out there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
that must have been an amazing experience.
It was
right?
so cool. So cool. I would honestly push my son to do that now as well. Because it was like, that was really, really cool to do that. And do you know what? Like as much as people have like kind of bad stuff to say, about American culture or whatever, how it's like, it's the people were so amazing to me. Like when I was like, oh man, like so amazing, and like honestly could not be more hospitable, like at all. And I know other people that went and did the same as me. And my pal Tom went to America. He's got a gym in Arbroath, and he had a totally different experience from me.
Really?
Yeah, total different. But I just got lucky. My family were really, really good.
Really good family.
Yeah, they were letting me have beers and stuff because I was 18, so I wasn't really allowed to drink.
Well, the drinking age there is 21. Yeah, right.
So they were like, but look, we know the culture back home, so if you want to have a little drink, we'll get you a drink. And
really?
Yeah, they were fucking sound but I was not crazy. I wasn't partying. Well, a little bit. I was partying a little bit. Yeah. But I fucking filled my boots a little bit, and yeah, it was good. And then so basically the name came about was because across their worldview isn't exactly broad.
Right.
So they kind of just knew that I was from Europe.
Yeah.
And at the time, I had long blonde hair, so I kind of looked Dutch, that's what I think that was that was the draw, was like, and so they were calling me like Von Dutch, Van Dam, Van this, Van Jordan, It's just all these names, and it was getting thrown about when I was kind of across there, and then it just was like they were calling me Van Damme, and my mates back home were like, that's funny as fuck. Yeah, you're getting called Van Damme. Yeah. So they started saying it like, oh, Van Damme this and Van Damme that, just as a fucking joke to take the piss out of me.
Yeah.
And then it just, when I came back, I was like, well, I may as well fucking call myself that.
Yeah.
And so it's just stuck.
It's stuck.
Yeah.
I love that, mate.
Yeah.
That is not what I was expecting you to tell me where it came from. I really rate that.
It's so weird. And it was like it was bizarre because obviously I remember saying to the group of pals that I had in the States, they were like, I was like, I'm from Scotland. It's not like Holland, it's Scotland. And they were like, fucking same thing. And I was like, what? I was like, Scotland is, have you never seen Braveheart before? Like, what the fuck are you on about?
That is so stereotypical, like when people talk about like Americans, like they think the world revolves around America or whatever.
They do. Yeah, they definitely do. They're nice people, but they fucking definitely do.
That is hilarious.
But yeah, it was quite funny. But when I came back, I was just like, I'm Van Damme now. I'm not.
What was the town like in Ohio?
Cool.
Was it cool?
Yeah, it's nice. People were lovely. The school was like such a total stereotypical high school in America. Like really, really mental. Like the proper sections of people.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man, there's some videos that there was a video production class. And so I just kind of did that because I did all my stuff. I'd done all my hires, everything. So I didn't need to do any school. I was kind of like fucking picked all these amazing. I did photography. I did video production. I did like obviously like basketball and stuff. So I was like, yeah, I just kind of fucking sauntered about and just really, really fun.
That
really
sounds
fun.
Great.
Yeah, it was good.
Was it like when you say it's just like you see like on TV?
Mean Girls.
Was it like that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, is it like Mean Girls or is it like American Pie or
bit of both? Like
yeah,
it's a bit of both, but it was kind of like there were sections of people, there was little groups of people, and I kind of floated between a few different groups because I did like basketball, so I kind of hung about with those a little bit, and then a kind of video production boys, I hung about with them a little bit, and then there was like another group of like guys that just kind of smoked grass. I was kind of pals with them as well. So I was like, yeah. So I was kind of pals with them. So yeah, it was good, man. It was a good experience.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Right. So what position did you play? Basketball?
When I was here, I played center. But because I was obviously the tallest here, but when I went across there, I was like a shooting guard.
Well, I was going to say over there, they're like proper tall.
Forward. I was a forward across there.
What is like the base level height to sort of get into playing basketball over there?
Well, the team across there wasn't like, they weren't actually that tall. Like there was a couple of tall players, but they were all built. They're all like my height, but just jacked, and they've been like smashing the gym and like, and I hadn't been doing that. I'd been smashing the pints, mate. I just turned 18. I'd been fucking booting it. So when I got across there, I remember the first training session for the team. I was like, what? I honestly, they make you do a 5K, then you're straight into the weight room.
Wow.
And you're doing we did our max, like whatever our max was, and I was like, what? Just on a 5K, I was fucking gassed. And then it was good. Honestly, it was so good. And then the people that I met were sound, like really nice.
Yeah. I bet.
It's mad.
Was there like, were you going to like parties and stuff?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Was it
heaps of parties, heaps of fucking mad shit going on. But obviously, like there was like nothing crazy happening, but it was just like same as parties here. Maybe not as fun as parties here, but it was like boozing. And yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
it was good.
And so by that point, you said that you'd kind of started like listening to like dance music and stuff. By that point, I was
DJing by then.
You were DJing by then.
I'd been DJing by that point, so I was kind of getting into DJing. I took my controller across with me. Right. Played like a couple of gigs.
Yeah, did you do like
house parties?
Were you the cool guy DJ playing at the house parties?
Yeah,
right,
man.
Amazing. Were they into dance music or were like?
I was trying to get them into it.
You were trying to get them into dance music.
I was trying to get them into it, and look, when I did like a couple of house parties when I was across there, and they like loved it. I even went to I met a guy on fucking MySpace, right? Back then, obviously. A guy called Tossif, I think his name was, and he ran a party in Ann Arbor in Detroit, which is not that far from where I was. So I went there and DJed at a party in Detroit as well.
Wow.
Yeah, and
that's cool.
Yeah, it was sick.
That's cool.
Just a house party, but it was like, it was pretty sick. And then other people that I'd met, a year later, I went back to America to like go and see friends and stuff.
Yeah.
And I played a party in Chattanooga, Tennessee, because the pals had moved down to Atlanta. So I went to Chattanooga, played in Atlanta, supported Mastercraft in Atlanta.
Wow.
Mad.
That's really cool.
Crazy.
That's really cool. Have you kept in touch with all these people?
Kind of. Like some of them I have, some like, I mean, I still speak to them now and again, say happy birthday and that on Facebook, but like not as much as I really should probably. Yeah.
That's really cool, man. Really cool. So I think you mentioned to me off camera, you got a project on the go where you teach kids how to DJ. Is that right?
Yeah. So it's through a Skills Academy. They're based in Arbroath. They do like sports, all sorts of different things to try and, teach people like computer skills and all sorts of stuff. And the DJ program was something that I kind of started a couple of years ago with them.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's good. It's going really well. I actually just had a conversation with Robbie Tolson.
Oh yeah, I know Robbie.
But from Turn the Tables.
Yeah.
So I think that we're going to be doing something up my neck of the woods with them as well.
Amazing.
So through the initiative, like through like the teaching kids how to DJ and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's been really good, mate. Honestly, I'm liking it more than I actually thought I would.
Amazing.
When I started. The results have been so class.
Yeah.
I worked in a youth facility, like a youth kind of hostel. Called Rossi. It's kind of like for kids that have maybe done some bad stuff, or they've maybe or they've kind of got some sort of social problems and stuff, and they've I've worked in there. I worked in there for a good portion of last year, and it was like really, really good. Like the kids totally loved it. Like it was pretty rewarding. So yeah, it's been good so far. The feedback's been really good, and I've been enjoying it.
That's brilliant, man. Yeah. Brilliant. Really rewarding, I can imagine, right? It's especially if...
It's weird because obviously you don't think when you're doing this, like you'll be the same, like you don't think it's fucking just DJing, just playing some tunes and that. But honestly, giving people like that success, like it changes people's mindset.
Yeah.
You don't realize that some people are not like getting that from anything else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're not getting wins.
Yeah.
So I think that like giving them skills and then going like, you know, we normally, the thing that I do through my project, we've got ours is SQA approved now as well. So
amazing.
We can go into schools and like actually counts towards something.
Yeah.
It's honestly, they get set a goal of like having to make a mix by 6 or 7 weeks. And so they'll have to make a mix. It's like between 50 minutes and half an hour. And then from week 1, we're just going to build up to that. Brilliant. And then week 6, we come in with the recording stuff and do it. Everyone's got to kind of be quiet and let it happen. And yeah, it's total class. Some of the kids are obviously shitting themselves and they're like, but that even part of that, I think that's something that like, I mean, a lot of these kids are not engaging in school.
Yeah.
They're not engaging in anything.
Yeah.
Apart from stuff that they shouldn't be doing. So to give them that, to concentrate on that and to give them some sort of target to hit, every single one of them have come out the other side. We've not had anybody kind of drop out or not do it. So it's been good.
That's brilliant, man. Yeah. Big up yourself for doing that. It's really cool. And I think like what you said there, some of them might be sort of nervous and stuff at the start, but even like doing something like that then will be beneficial for them, right? To sort of, you're like pushing them out of their comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah.
But I suppose if they can get to grips with doing something like that, and it kind of builds confidence in them.
Time.
So that's really cool, man.
Getting a win. I think that's the main thing, is that like you forget that like, I mean, some of these kids have not had probably something that they've like, you know, somebody has told them that they're good at. You know what I mean? Or if they've been good at something, it's not been something that they should be good at. So it's like giving them that success and them going, I did this myself. Like I've worked hard and I've got something to show for it at the end. I think that just that in itself, they can take that and use that in other shit that they do in their life. So it's good.
That's brilliant, man. Good on you. Good on you.
It's class.
So what's life like for you outside the music then? What else do you get up to with your time?
Well, obviously the skill stuff, I do that. I do graphic design. So I do design stuff for like club stuff as well. But I do like, I mean, I just did a poster for a shop in Arbroath there that I DJ with. He's a good friend of mine. He's got a fish shop in Arbroath. I just did that. So kind of do graphic design stuff here and there. And what else do I do? I'm a dad. I'm a dad. So
what's your boy's name?
Ruben. Yeah.
How old is he?
He's 10 years old. He's 11 this year.
Right. Cool.
And
cool.
that's a full-time job as well, man. But I'm obviously I've got my dog as well. So I'm kind of my time's taken up, like with when I'm not doing DJ production-y stuff like that. Spend time with him, spend time with my girlfriend.
Is Ruben into music?
Yeah. He's getting there. Like I'm showing him how to like kind of cue up records and stuff like that. And he gets a free flow. He can come into the studio and put tunes on and that.
Brilliant.
And he's getting it. Like he's starting to like kind of be into it.
Brilliant.
Yeah, nice. And he plays basketball too.
Yeah.
He's playing basketball. Yeah. He started to play basketball.
Yeah.
He's only like, he's turning 11 this year, but he's just joined the under 14s basketball team.
Right.
He's a big boy.
Wow.
He's a big lad. Yeah. He's quite tall.
Yeah. Nice.
So it's been good. And then and apart from that, honestly, I just like at the moment it's like genuinely all go with like DJing and stuff and social media, man. Pardon me, as much as like I moan about it and that, it's probably been quite good for me to be able to do stuff like, you know, go on social media and video myself and kind of do stuff like that. But that has now become like a big portion of my time now is doing stuff for social media.
You're pretty good at it though. Like I see, you're on it with that, and you're obviously comfortable at getting in front of the camera and talking and stuff.
I think that's half the battle, innit?
I've seen some of the clips you've been doing with like talking about tunes and stuff like that. I think like things like that are really good, man.
Yeah, it's honestly just it's like basic shit, but like I mean, to be quite honest though, you'll know yourself as well. It's like it is tiresome. Like, you know, like I do like doing it, and I do like, and I just have to be on that day and be like, you know, I really want to find a tune, and I just will stick it on, and I'll try and be as real as possible and just go like, this is the tune that I found in that. But yeah, it's a bit of a tear, because you're kind of like, can't be fucking arsed today. Yeah. Can't be arsed speaking to the camera and doing that. For sure. But it is something you kind of do need to do it. It is part of the game, I think, now.
I think you're right. I think it is part of the game now. And, you know, talking about it being tiresome and stuff, I think a lot of people who see these little clips probably don't realise like that 30-second clip might have taken you like hours to put together. You know?
Mate, it fucking does.
It does.
Yeah, the fucking 30 to 60-second clips that I'm doing, I'm not joking. I've laboriously went fucking through that for an hour or two. And I've sat and fucking hummed and hawed about it for ages. And sometimes I've made it and went, fuck, I'm going to change the tune. And I'm not going to do that tune. So then I've done it and then not put it up.
So what have you got coming up? What's lined up for you gigs wise and music and stuff?
Gigs, I've got some class gigs coming up. Really good gigs. So this weekend I'm in Ministry of Sound. Wow, this weekend I'm playing first gig in London ever. Nice. I am total fucking buzzing for that. Yeah, I'm like really excited. I'm going down on the Friday. I've got some studio I'm playing on Saturday, so I'm going down. I've got a gig this Thursday in Sub Club with DOD.
Right, okay.
I'm playing with him.
Cool.
And then down to London on jet setting, man. Total jet setting on the flight. Fucking pure economy flights down to London, sitting in the fucking front row. But going down, playing on London on Saturday. Then I think my next gig is in Belfast with Hannah Lane.
Nice.
Well, kind of mid-March or whatever. Yeah. Then I'm playing Snowbombing in April. Then I'm playing, what else have I got? I'm playing Inverness. I've got a gig in Inverness coming up. Yeah. With a bunch of guys up there. They're like starting a new night. I think it's called Simulate the Night. Okay. And I think the place is called Upstairs. I can't, honestly, that's bad. I don't know. But I just know the dudes that are putting on, and it's like, honestly, I actually love Inverness. Yeah. It's fucking sick. I've played up there a good few times, and it's like always a fucking class night. Nice. I think the guys that run, Mark McKenzie, do you know Mark McKenzie? No. You know, have you ever heard of Outdoors?
Maybe.
The festival thing that they do on the banks of Loch Ness. And it's like, I think they had Chaos in the CBD, they've had like Sally C, honestly, it's the most picturesque event ever. It's like one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Cool. But I think they're playing with me on that. Well, Mark is, I don't know about the other dude, Ali. But yeah, they're playing with me on, I think it's the 20th of April. And then, what else have I got? I've got a couple, I don't know if I can say. I'm supporting Hannah, I think, in Glasgow in August.
Hannah Lang.
Yeah. In SWG3 in the Yard. And I've got another Yard gig, but I don't know if I can say just yet.
Go on.
Well, it's Fatboy Slim. But,
cool.
Yeah. But I think, I don't know if I think it's confirmed. It seems like it's confirmed at the moment. Fuck, who cares if it's not? It's like, it will be now. They're fucking going to have to do it now.
Yeah.
But,
once it's on the internet.
Once it's on the internet, it's fact.
Yeah.
But that's it. I've got all stuff's kind of flown in. But with the agency I'm with, Earth, they're keen to get all these tunes out, because obviously that kind of works with each other. So, I think a lot more gigs are going to kind of start filtering in once the tunes come out.
Wicked, man.
Yeah,
really
man.
Good. Well, all the best to it, mate.
Cheers, mate.
I'll be keeping an eye on socials and checking out, looking out for what you've got coming up and stuff.
Cheers, man. And thank you for having me down here, by the way.
No, thank you very much for coming on. I really appreciate it, man. It's been good. It's been good talking to you. For anybody that's listening that does want to hit you up or follow you or check out what you've got coming out, what's your links?
So fucking hell, I've never had to do this before. That's funny. I always forget to do it on the back-to-back podcast. I'm like, what's your links? I'm like, fucking forget every time. So it's vandam.wav, VANDAMN .wav, WAV, on pretty much everything, Twitter, all that stuff. And my tunes, you just type in Van Dam on Spotify, Apple Music, anything like that, you'll get it. And then for the back-to-back podcast, it's B2B Podcast on YouTube, fucking Spotify, Apple Music, all that Good stuff. And then we're on Instagram and TikTok and stuff too.
Nice.
All those same social links.
Nice. So check them out. Go check them out.
Yeah.
Wicked, mate. Well, listen, thanks very much for coming on. I appreciate it, man.
Cheers.
Cheers to head.
Good.
See, that was good, mate.